Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood, and today we're going to be learning all about sushi. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. When you hear the word sushi, your mind immediately pictures thin slices of raw salmon or tuna resting on a plate. It's a widely held belief across the globe that the literal translation of the Japanese word sushi is raw fish. But what do you think? Does sushi really mean raw fish? Is that an actual fact or a common misconception? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is narezushi. That's Narezushi. Narezushi translates roughly to salted fish. It's the Japanese term referring to the earliest, most primitive form of sushi. In its original form, narezushi was not a culinary delicacy. It was just a practical method of food preservation developed in Southeast Asia before spreading to Japan. The process involved packing cleaned, raw fish in salt and fermented rice to prevent it from spoiling, allowing communities to safely store protein for months at a time. The heavy, prolonged fermentation produced a strong, pungent odor and incredibly sharp, sour flavor profile. Originally, the rice used in the fermentation process was discarded once the preservation cycle was complete, so people only consumed the cured fish itself. The starch in the rice naturally converted to lactic acid, which successfully kept the fish safe from harmful bacteria, but made the rice just unpalatable. It wasn't until the Muromachi period around the 14th century that fermentation times were shortened enough for people to begin eating the slightly sour rice along with the fish. And this shift to eating the rice along with the fish laid the groundwork for modern sushi we enjoy today. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about sushi. Number 1. Sushi's traditional Japanese cuisine, but salmon sushi is a modern culinary creation from the Norwegian government. Before the 1980s, salmon wasn't used in traditional Japanese sushi because Pacific salmon carried parasites and was considered unsafe to eat raw. In 1985, the Norwegian government launched Project Japan to market their massive commercial surplus of farmed Atlantic salmon, which was parasite-free and entirely safe for raw consumption. A Norwegian businessman named Bjorn Erik Olsen traveled to Japan and pitched the concept of raw salmon sushi to Japanese seafood executives. He eventually convinced a major Japanese frozen food company to purchase 5,000 tons of Atlantic salmon for sushi. It took a decade of aggressive marketing and heavy discounts to change consumer habits and overcome the cultural stigma against raw salmon. But today, salmon is the most popular sushi topping in Japan and around the world. The introduction of Atlantic salmon revolutionized the global sushi industry, making the cuisine significantly more accessible to Western palates who are already familiar with cooked salmon. This highly successful marketing campaign is now studied by economists as a perfect example of global seafood trade permanently altering a nation's traditional cuisine. The Norwegian seafood industry currently exports well over 1 million tons of salmon annually, largely driven by the demand for sushi. Number 2. The green paste you eat with your sushi is almost certainly not real wasabi. True wasabi, scientifically known as Wasabia japonica, is really difficult to cultivate, so about 99% of the so called wasabi served in restaurants worldwide is actually just an engineered food substitute. Real wasabi requires a very specific environment to grow. It relies on constant streams of cool, mineral rich spring water and strict temperature controls. Because it's so difficult to grow, authentic wasabi root is one of the most expensive crops in the world, costing upwards of $250 per kilogram. In order to keep prices down but keep up with the massive global demand for the spicy condiment, food manufacturers created an inexpensive imitation using horseradish, mustard flour, and artificial green food coloring. Authentic wasabi offers a completely different culinary experience compared to the widespread horseradish based version. When freshly grated, usually on a traditional shark skin grater, real wasabi produces a complex herbal flavor that loses its signature heat within about 15 minutes of exposure to the air. This rapid chemical degradation of flavor makes it impossible to package real grated wasabi in the tubes or plastic packets commonly found in grocery stores. The natural pungency of true wasabi is meant to subtly enhance the flavor of raw fish rather than overwhelm the palate with a sharp, lingering burning sensation. Number 3. The most expensive sushi grade tuna ever sold cost over $3 million. In January 2019, a Japanese sushi tycoon named Kiyoshi Kimura set a world record by purchasing a single Pacific blue tuna for $3.1 million. It happened during the traditional New Year's auction at Tokyo's famous Toyosu Fish Market. The massive fish weighed 612 pounds, or 278 kilograms, so he paid about $5,000 per pound of tuna. Kimura, who owns a popular sushi restaurant chain, said he wanted to secure the absolute best possible fish for his customers to celebrate the new year. Pacific bluefin tuna is considered better than your average tuna. It's highly prized for its rich fat content, specifically the belly meat known as otoro, which melts in your mouth due to its unique composition. The dense, intramuscular fat in otoro has a melting point lower than the average human body temperature, so it literally dissolves as it rests on your tongue. Unfortunately, the extreme global demand for this decadent meat has led to severe overfishing, causing international conservation groups to classify the species as vulnerable. To combat these declining populations, fisheries and marine scientists are developing sustainable aquaculture methods that safely farm bluefin tuna in closed oceanic systems. Number 4. Nigiri sushi should be eaten upside down. When consuming nigiri, which consists of a slice of fish draped over a molded mound of rice, you're supposed to dip the fish side into the soy sauce rather than the rice. Rice acts as a sponge and will absorb too much liquid soy sauce, and that overpowers the delicate, natural flavor of the fish. Also, dipping the rice directly into the liquid can cause the carefully formed grain structure to fall apart before it even reaches your mouth. Sushi chefs spend years perfecting the exact density, pressure, and temperature of the rice, aiming for it to break apart in your mouth, not in your hand. Flipping the sushi ensures the structural integrity of the bite remains intact while providing the correct ratio of salty seasoning. Eating nigiri upside down also helps with the flavor profile. By placing the fish side down on your tongue, you allow the primary ingredient to make the first contact with your taste buds. Then, the lightly seasoned vinegar rice will follow, creating a well-balanced sequential tasting experience. While many modern diners use wooden chopsticks, traditional Japanese etiquette is to actually eat nigiri with clean hands to make the flipping maneuver much easier. And our fifth and final fun fact for today: the modern conveyor belt sushi restaurant was inspired by an industrial beer bottling plant. In 1958, a Japanese restaurateur named Yoshiaki Shiraishi invented kaiten sushi, a conveyor belt sushi, to solve severe staffing shortages in his restaurant. Shiraishi struggled to manage his small but popular sushi shop by himself, and he wanted a way to serve more customers without hiring additional waitstaff. During a tour of a commercial brewery, he watched the beer bottles moving efficiently along a mechanical conveyor belt and realized he could apply the exact same concept to food service. He spent 5 years developing a specialized dining belt made of custom stainless steel plates that could smoothly navigate tight restaurant corners while carrying small plates of sushi. Shiraishi opened the very first conveyor belt sushi restaurant in Osaka, completely transforming the traditional industry into a modern fast food experience. The invention of the sushi conveyor belt made it a much more affordable and casual meal for the masses. Today, the technology has evolved quite a bit, with modern restaurant chains incorporating sophisticated kitchen robotics, interactive touchscreen ordering systems, and RFID microchips hidden under the plates. These embedded microchips allow restaurant managers to digitally track exactly how long a specific piece of sushi has been circulating, automatically removing any items that have passed their freshness window. Some automated restaurants have even implemented high-speed bullet train delivery tracks that transport custom orders directly to the customer's table in a matter of seconds. Now for some news you can use. Making your own sushi at home can seem intimidating at first, but it really just requires a few tools and a bit of practice. It can be incredibly rewarding as you and your family can make every bite exactly how you like it. You'll just need a bamboo rolling mat, a sharp knife, sheets of nori seaweed, prepared sushi rice, and your favorite fillings like cucumber, avocado, or cooked shrimp. The biggest hurdle is usually dealing with the sticky rice. To prevent a frustrating kitchen mess, keep a small bowl of water mixed with a splash of rice vinegar right next to your workstation. Before you grab a handful of prepared rice to spread onto your nori sheet, dip your fingers into the water. The moisture creates a temporary barrier that stops the starches from gluing the grains to your skin. This allows you to press the rice into a smooth, even layer without tearing the delicate seaweed. Once you have the spreading and rolling technique down, you can easily set up a prep station with various fillings so everyone can create their own custom rolls. It's a great opportunity to experiment with different flavor profiles and recipe substitutions. If you want to skip the raw, expensive sushi grade fish, you can swap cooked shrimp, imitation crab, or mild, familiar ingredients like roasted sweet potatoes, cucumber, and avocado. And as a little bonus tip, tightly wrapping your bamboo rolling mat in a layer of plastic wrap prevents the rice from getting mashed into the woven grooves, and that makes cleanup a lot easier. Finally, the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked, do you think sushi translates to raw fish? Well, it turns out that's a fallacy. The word sushi actually translates to sour tasting, or it's sour. Remember our word of the day, narezushi, referred to the sour, heavily fermented rice used to preserve fish in ancient times. While raw, sliced fish, formerly known in Japan as sashimi, is frequently served alongside modern sushi rice, it's actually the specially vinegared rice that legally defines the dish. You can technically have sushi made entirely of raw vegetables, cooked sweet egg, or grilled meats, and as long as it contains that specially prepared vinegar-seasoned rice, it's officially classified as sushi. So, the next time someone claims they don't like sushi simply because they don't eat raw fish, you can let them know that the raw fish is actually an optional ingredient in sushi. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about sushi with me today. If you're enjoying the podcast and want to support me in creating this content and get to listen ad-free, check the links in the show notes because for just $3 a month on Patreon, you can listen ad-free to Fun Facts Daily and my other podcasts, Who Arted and Art Smart. But regardless of where you're listening, be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.